Hello, Print Society. So we have an in-person training course today, and we will be going over the basic things to look out for in terms of art preparation, and we may get into a little AI design too. We'll just have to see how this goes. So thank you for being a part of this. So I would say the first thing that people run into when they're talking about like printing transfers and stuff like that, it you have to start with the file preparation first, because if you buy your images from places like Etsy, sometimes it's better to know what a good quality file is first before you even get to the point of the actual print, because you may find that an image looks fine like this one. So we have this image here. This is the ink brand for my logo. So at first glance, it looks like it's good. When you zoom all the way in, you can see the pixels, which this isn't bad, but this is what we call pixelation. So it's not anything bad, but for printing, we need to make sure that the resolution is optimal, or we may see these pixels in the image, which most people could say the image looks blurry. So when I talk to some customers, I have to find out, the type of customer I'm talking to where they'll say, hey, you say it's blurry, or if they're really interested in what it's called. So this isn't bad resolution to be for print, but the issue that we may find is, like, let's say you're looking at images from Etsy, it looks like the background's fine, but it's against white. So if we were to just draw a box behind this, we can see that it has a white background. So if we were to send this image to the printer right now, it will print it with that white background. But you would never know because you just bought the image and purchased it. For the most part now, people that are on Etsy and they sell images, they pretty much know that. So it's rare that you'll find an image like that. And then most of the time, if you send this off for somebody to print, then they'll let you know, or they may print it as is. So we start with the file preparation and what to look out for before it even gets to the print film, the point of print. So this next image looks the same here, but now this image has a black background. So it's pretty much the same thing, but now this resolution is a little worse than what we saw before. So anytime we print an image, what we like to do is make sure that we export, at 300 PPI or DPI. So if you hear people talk about DPI, PPI, it's 300. So what happens is if someone creates the design, or if you or I create the design and we have it set to something like screen, you can have what we'll get into in a second, a vector file, but the issue that we'll find is that the resolution is too small. So you start from a really clean file and you can still end up with a worse file if the resolution isn't set to at least 300. That's the standard base DPI, or dots per inch. And so the dots per inch represents how many pixels are in that inch, in a square inch, basically. So this last file that we'll look at here, well, there's two more. So this one will be a transparent image. So this is PNG. Everybody's familiar with that. So you have different file formats. Like if we were to export this, and Illustrator gives us multiple different options. It also gives the vector images, or the vector file extensions now too. But the most common that you'll see is PNG. Or if you search on Etsy or anything, or any platform for images, you might want to find an SVG. That will be a scalable vector graphic. So if anyone asks you, hey, do you have the vector file? What they're talking about is this. So when we look at this, you can see these areas being highlighted as I move the mouse. So this is what we call a vector file. So there's no pixelation, whatever. You can print a billboard with this and it'll be fine. But the printer might not understand, or the RIP software might not understand a vector file. So that's where it gets a little bit tricky. So depending on the type of RIP software that you're running, whether it be AWAJoN, LexiPrint, Print XP, which is the one that we're using right now, or MainTop, that's the controller. But this image in MainTop here, all of these programs accept different types of formats. But if you use like a commercial printer, like this one over here, then you'll use more of what's called a TIFF file, .tiff. So that's a vector based graphic. So sometimes you end up saving it as a PNG. So like we would go to Photoshop and then open up this image here. Just redo the one that we just had. So the image may come this way. Let's crop this out. And then you have to prep. Escape. I should have hit enter. On Illustrator, it's escape for the artboard. So we would end up having to do several things to prepare this image for print. But if you're sending prints to be, sending them off, their images off to be printed, then you wouldn't have to worry about this next step. But if we're sending it to the printer, then we have to do a few more things with that. But right now, let's just stick to like the file formats and stuff like that. So if we were to export this file, I would need to save it as a .tiff file, just for the RIP software to understand it. But for a commercial printer like the XD15000, the 8550, for those printers, you'd be fine with just saving it as a JPEG or exporting it as a PNG. I'm sorry, not a JPEG. One thing to remember that I forgot is that the JPEG images, even if it's transparent like this, if we were to save this image or export it as a JPEG, it'll always add that white background. So just keep that in mind too. That's why we look for like PNG, SVG, PDF, AI. So that's the most important thing when it comes to file formatting. Now, when we cross over into preparing AI images, usually it won't give it to you with a transparent background. So that's where you'll use your Canvas and your Photoshops and stuff like that to remove that background. But it's still important to even tell the program that you're generating the image in, whether it be ChatGPT. We use Ideogram, and I believe there's like a free program or a free option up into a certain amount of generations, and they're usually like that. One of my favorites to use is the Bing. I don't know, have you used this one at all for the AI? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the Bing, you get 15 generations per day, but it just slows it down after that. But sometimes you can even tell it to generate an image in high definition. You can just say, can you generate a high resolution image? So just leaving that line out may hurt you when it comes to generating over and over and over again. And so I can't think of any ideas, but if you were to give me any sort of idea, if we were going to generate some type of artwork or anything like that, we can do it in real time to see how we would adjust that image.
I think you have the little line, and how did you make the little line?
So that one, I think we used, it may have been Ideogram, it may have been, I can't remember, but basically you would just type this in. I don't think this would do a better job, so a good enough job of creating an image like that, but that's where we would go to something like Ideogram. So if I were to try to recreate this again, you just have to tell it idea. So think of idea, but instead of the A at the end, just type an O and then gram. IDEOGRAM. .ai. That's the link.
IDEOGRAM.
.ai. They may have both. I don't know. Let's see. So yeah, it's all the same. So when they first launched, you had to type the AI. So if I go back, it adds the AI there. But if you do .com, it still works. But they didn't used to. You had to Google search them. So AI, where people get hung up on the AI, there's a beef in the community amongst like people that say, I call them purists, where they say, oh, a human didn't make that, or that's not. Have you heard anybody complaining about like the AI?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just hear it on my life. That must be made by AI. That must be made by AI.
yeah. See, over here we use it as a tool. So I know that I can draw, and I know that I can do all these other things, but we use it as a tool to help with the workflow. So when we're talking about printing and creating a service, providing a service for our customers, they don't care about any of that stuff. And you don't, as a designer, as a printer, you don't want to spend so much time, as much as people hate to believe it, you don't have to compromise the quality for the time that you spend on something. You know something looks good, or if it doesn't, the moment you do it. And so when we talk about AI being a tool, we just want to get the fastest results possible. So it's almost like putting a puzzle together. So I can just either choose one of these, or you said recreating it. So I could say, um,
I'm trying to create clothing line, but it's my
oh,
issue is, I guess how you what is it when the clothing line have the letters and in the back is an image, and
okay, yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm trying to find a good copy image for the go with my letters like this.
Okay. So it just depends on the theme, like whatever you want the theme, or some people say brand identity. So what is it that you want people to see, that stands out when they see the logo? Like, because it's not enough. When you think about a brand, that's different from, creating a logo just for like a laundromat company or something like that. When you're creating a brand, you want it to be conceptual, to where it's like the Nike swoosh, like where you
Right.
see it, it's a common thing amongst all
Right.
of their stuff. Yeah. So really, so do you know like the theme, like urban, like type?
I mean, yeah, probably urban, but I've been going like different stores and just looking at different stuff, but they be doing a lot of stuff at the schools, and I don't really like that. But
Okay.
I know that's the new thing, I
Hmm.
guess, but I don't want the school.
Well, it just depends. Like even if I were you, what I would do is start in Google. So you could just, if I say urban, Google's gonna destroy it. So we'll just have to get some type of image, a starting point, to kind of ask AI to help us with creating something in that similar style. So,
Because if I say strong, they if I use the word strong, they
uh
usually give me like a dark image, and I'm like,
so you want the image to be more bold. So some of this with the AI, it's almost like art theory, because you have to tell it, like if you want like a brutalist type design, or minimalistic design, less is more. So if you want it to be more linear, like line based, and or 3D, you have to tell it that. So it really, when you're just starting from ground zero, the beauty is yours. So nobody will ever see it until you're content with it. So I've seen where I don't even
I
know
don't
where
be
to
knowing
start.
what words to say to get my
Okay,
caption.
okay.
So I know I learned on Chat GPT, I could take a picture of something and be like, "Can you create me something like
Yeah.
this?" Yeah.
Hmm.
So I just learned that.
So do you have it to where you can send that to me?
What?
Like some of the images that you generated?
Um, yeah, for the program.
Yeah. Because if you do that, we can try to take what you already have
Mhm.
as a base. And if you really like those images, we can turn it into a vector with programs, or we can trace it.
It'd be giving me.
What I may do is just give you a file. So if you want to just dump the images that you have into this file.
So it just seems boring.
Mm,
I don't know if I should change the name of what my business is, but exquisite hustle. So
okay,
something, but I don't,
that doesn't look bad.
I don't know.
So have you shown it to anybody?
Yeah,
Have you gotten any feedback on it?
Yeah, but it's like it don't be the
Okay, so it's like a West Coast chopper, Orange County type.
I don't
At
know.
least the when I see the crosses and the way it's shaped, like
I want to do something with at first when I was trying to start at the beginning, I did want something with a tiger or a lion,
okay.
but I don't think how that's gonna go. But I've been seeing a lot of tiger lion stuff, so it's like,
Well, can you scroll back down to like just show me some more of the images because I'm just looking at what you had. Okay, so with that, that has a different feel from some of the other ones. That's
that's what I'm
more
saying. It's just
that
like
font is there's nothing wrong with that, but you want some continuity like through the brand. So the first part I would have called it like a modern Gothic type because you think of church, not like you know modern day church, but like a cathedral or something like that. When you look at the fonts, it's almost an old English type style, and then you have those medieval type crosses in there too.
so. This is what when I first came up with the name.
Yeah, I think that's probably the strongest the vibe that I get. So when you gotta say, I don't want to say it like wrong or whatever, but
Mm,
so when you think of exquisite, I think that stands out more because it's more pronounced. So it has that modern feel to it,
mm,
but it's not so much playful. Like I saw like the kind of teddy bear thing
mm,
too. But now you can have part of your line, like a specific line, along with the brand, and you just have that line isolated. Like the how some people do collections and series
mm.
in their shirt line. So I would say that, but the main thing, I think that's stronger because you have the knight and you have the modernized font, and then you can go with the modern Gothic style too. So it still has that medieval type thing, but it's like medieval modern type, And then the tones that you have on some of the images, kind of like the warm tones, like brown, and then bold. That's bold, like the black. And you can do that on charcoal gray. You can do it on like the natural color. You can color clash like with paint, like hot paint, stuff like that, so that a woman will still buy it, even though it's like kind of a hard
That's what I
design.
was trying to see because they was like sometimes when I make an image, they be like, "Oh, that's for men, that's for women." And I'm like, well, I want
Yeah.
it to just be for just one.
Yeah, if you take that and you flip it with some of the colors and stuff like that too, especially well, it's hard to kind of do neon because we have boundaries with the prints. We could do fluorescent inks, but I think that would be really good to just you can take what you have there and you can throw that right back into Chat GPT. So just as you started with someone else's, you can take what you've already created and tell it what you're trying to do and see where it lands, where it is. So, I mean, that's what we would do. Now, you can also take it and trace some of that. Like if you feel like it's lower quality, like let's say the resolution, we talked about resolution, if it's not going to quite be there, now you know what to look for when you're zooming in and you can see what elements you need to trace. Because realistically, sure, you're not going to go beyond like 13. That's max, 13 inches wide. So even if it's like a 13 by 15 for a 4 or 5X shirt, um, you don't have to have like the best resolution as if you were gonna print like a billboard or a big sign or something like that. So um, I think you have some strong stuff.
So now I need to know how what I'm doing wrong as far as my website.
The website you have
My
it's long.
I have yeah I have oh so Shopify.
Okay,
So I don't know what I'm doing. So I just uploaded a whole bunch of stuff.
okay. So you have mock-ups and stuff, or you're selling like the
There's some stuff that I made and then I started just creating it and then I just take a picture of the markup and put it on there.
okay.
How do I get to? Do you use Shopify?
Yeah, I don't use it on my phone though. I'm a dinosaur. I like to see everything,
Mm.
like the live view of like the site.
Yeah.
Have you assigned a domain to
Mm-hmm.
it? What's the domain? That sounds right. You know, have to send out some of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I don't know why they came up with these first.
Well, that may just be on the website side, like the
Okay.
way. So you'll have you set up like categories and stuff like that?
Mm-mm.
So that's probably why. So it's probably taking the images that you're importing it into it, and it's just doing a generic like store thing. So it's gonna pick something random from the store instead of you telling it, hey, pull it from this category and put it on display. That's more so the design side. Do
So
we do
this is
that
the
too?
stuff that I made.
Okay. Yeah. So
So that's another one of the shirt I made. But his shoes was right, so I posted that one.
yeah. We were talking about that. Okay. So what I would say, I always have to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So when you begin with the end in mind. So when you start a brand, you don't you can go either route. But what you don't want is like cease and desist letters and stuff like that. Because they're cracking down on a lot of stuff these days. But you
So
can
what?
still so like Jordan and like likeness of artists and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Artists really don't care. And people love the shirts. Like if you were gonna do it locally, someone transfer a fully printed shirts or something like Facebook Marketplace, something like that. Artists, that's not really a big deal. Everybody wants a custom shirt to go to go out, stuff like that. But when we start getting into like the Jordan and stuff like that too,
Mm-hmm.
you definitely want to set yourself apart. Like we're talking about brand identity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I think this is clean.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I think it's clean.
Mm-hmm.
Now, from the standpoint of a brand or somebody wanting to come and see the collections and stuff that you have,
Mm-hmm.
I think your stuff would outsell this a million times over. Only because it's something different that people are saying. And the way you can do it is still use the AI,
Mm-hmm.
and again, the customer won't care. Now I use AI a lot, so I can kind of see this. And you can still print stuff like that before your brand. I would stick to the thing that you have, selling it, and have a whole line on the catalog phone.
So I just started.
Yeah, see, like this is perfect. This is perfect. See, I like this.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the Jordan, but it's not part of the design, you know.
Which one? Oh yeah, yeah.
So now when you get into like Nike and stuff like that, you could still do it without the logos on it, but still like you could take that same image and offset him here without the Nike swoosh or whatever, and people still see that. But in terms of if you know that you have something solid, think about 2 years, 5 years from now, when somebody's coming to look at your website, and they're like, well, let me see if there's anything we can uh, basically pick on you about. Like they have people from Disney going around to trade shows, like without any type of identification, letting you know, hey, you can't do that. So we're in an unprecedented time, but I think what you have and these and what you showed me before, it's still really strong. It's like you could post the stuff online all day and sell it, but for like explicit hustling, I think you
So
can
so
make.
I made all of these before I came up with the experience. So I just
Oh,
recently
okay,
came up. So I just
okay,
started making it. Well, that's what the most recent when I
okay.
came up here. But I made all of these shirts
Hmm.
prior to, and I just started uploading it.
Okay. Yeah, I like all of this. See, this is clever. It's a clever way of when someone sees it, they
Mhm.
gravitate toward it you could still sell these, but oh, okay. I remember we were talking about the feet and all of that.
Mhm.
Yeah, so yeah, I would
So
say,
this is the window.
oh, is it up?
Or down.
Oh, let's go to the next page. Yeah, because Disney, you don't want to be on the other end of that. And there's a lady, she's probably gonna see this, but well, she doesn't care. She put it up there. But another printing, like guru in the whole DTF space,
Mm.
she got just real quick, but she got a cease and desist. Oh no, she didn't get that. They actually came to her house. She prints out of a she shed in the backyard, but it was for the Super Bowl stuff.
Mm.
And they were like, "How many have you printed?" Because they were like, "We already know that how many people you've been talking to a messenger and all this other stuff." And she said she was on her way out of town and said, "Hey, these shirts right here, I just printed these from my husband and my son and myself. We went out of town to the Super Bowl. And this is all I had." They said they took the shirt to whatever, and they said, "We thought you were a larger scale thing based on." She's getting hundreds of comments, but like, "Hey, I like this." They like her design, but it was a Super Bowl design. So, but she's not in a big shop. It's not a really. She has
So
a
she
great.
got in trouble for that?
Oh yeah, yeah. But now they could have like fined her and all of that. But they thought that the whole point, the reason why she didn't is they thought that she was printing the official Super Bowl shirt. It was a couple of years ago, but they thought she was taking the official Super Bowl shirts for the event, and she was reprinting those. So once they found out that she was just doing custom designs, they still took them and told her she couldn't do it anymore. But yeah, so it's when you think people aren't watching, if you do it, I would say you can still put it out there, Facebook Marketplace, your Facebook page and stuff like that, to see this should be at the forefront. Like I really like
So how do I
this.
change it? Because I just uploaded from, like I said, well, they just kind of old, but
Uh-huh.
I just started putting stuff that I printed on the site,
Okay.
not in a certain order.
Okay.
So these are the last two ones that I created, so that's why they last. But
So
I just went started from my first ones that I made
and then
and then
oh,
put it
okay.
on the
So
site. So
that's why
it,
these are at the bottom.
yeah. So
Okay,
how do
so
I switch it?
now that's more of a Shopify. Like we'd have to sign into your Shopify and all of that and create categories because uh, this is yeah, we got to get these on the front page. I'm telling you that. Like,
Mhm. So I don't. So I don't like that it has the. Would you say the white box? You know what I'm talking about?
no, this is transparent. You don't like the boxy appearance of the
Yeah.
image.
Yeah.
I think big prints are in now, but the thing is that if you go in and trace this, which this has a lot of gradient stuff going on. So if you were to go in and trace this, you can make it clean or the resolution is a bit higher, and you can make this stand alone. But I do like the statement that it makes. Another option you have is to turn this into an outline, like an actual outline. You can knock the black out. So let's see, we can do that in another program, like in Photoshop. But you can take what you have and just remove the black from the image, but it would only be for black shirts. So you can go through, remove the black from the background, but you would have to put an outline just so it doesn't, the X doesn't disappear, basically. But you can only press that transfer to black. But yeah, I would say just go and trace this. You can run it through software. I would probably start with the actual image that you put on the shirt because after you save it and resave it and put it into programs like that, you lose more and more of the resolution. But yeah, you can sort that out on the front page. But I can see that if you were uploading these in order and it's just adding to them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
So I
So
made this little area.
yeah, uh-huh. So you were gonna get these like embroidered and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. I like that.
But I
Yeah.
still have some more images. But most of the stuff I was doing at first, I don't have actual pictures of it.
Uh-huh.
I have the videos because, Yeah, so I didn't finish. I still have more stuff to upload. I don't know if you can upload videos on there.
Probably on the, they have different placeholders that you can do. Now, if you save it as like a without GIF, it's like a short animated thing, because then you're talking about more web design where it slows your website down. You know, if you have all of these animated.
I have started doing this one at first.
Okay.
This using me.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So I don't have pictures of those. I just have
Yeah.
videos.
What about your, you have the artwork, like the images, right? Still?
Yeah.
Because if you have the images, you can just tell ChatGPT, hey, can you create a mock-up using this image when you upload it?
Mm.
You can tell it to do that. Like,
Okay.
hey, can you create a mock-up using this image of a two-piece, sweatsuit type deal, with the hoodie, and tell it the color and everything, and that'll do it. You can also use, I think I canceled it, but I'm an affiliate for, it's called Place It. Have you heard of Place It?
Mm-mm. So I created. You talking about this? Do I have this?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I saw that.
Just you can upload that, create a t-shirt mock-up. You can tell it whether you want a person wearing it or if you don't.
Oh.
Tell it what type of background you want. Now, if I'm gonna go through and add my own background later, I'll just tell it to do like white or black or something. That way
With
it's
a white
easier to
background.
remove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I created good. So remember I said I wanted something with
Yeah.
a tiger, and then I put I am or I'm him,
Okay.
but I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. See, on something like that, on a black shirt, you can pull that in, knock the black out.
See, when I be trying to create them, it'll make the image right, but then it always mess up my
Yeah.
words, the spelling of it, and I don't know how to correct it.
Now that, can you email that to me,
Mm-hmm.
Brown?
Mm-hmm.
Take this into Photoshop first and channels. So double click to duplicate the layer, and
So this
then
is Photoshop. Right?
yeah, this is Photoshop. So I'll create another layer. We always want to save what we have. So you want a different copy. Just in case we do mess it up, we can always hide this layer with the eyeball, and then now we can go back to our original. So what I would do with this is I would take, it's got a lot of things. I'll probably just make this blank, take what we call the lasso tool, or use the pencil tool, and I would just draw around the section here. And sometimes in the new version of Photoshop, it does the inverse, and I'm not used to that. I'm used to the old version, so we may have to adjust it a little bit. And we can take the, I hit I on the keyboard, so this just selects our eyedropper tool, and I'm gonna borrow this white color. Now we can go to our brush tool. I may need to make the size larger on this, and we just paint that. So we almost start out with a blank canvas. So I'll save this version of it. Well, really, I could probably knock the black out of it too. It needs to be on layer 0. I'll probably have to save this again. I'll just name it layer 0. Stop. But for this to work, it needs to be on level 0. And then we can go to the res up option. These are just actions that I use. It's exploring. So this will try its best to make the print larger to increase the resolution just a little bit. And then we can sharpen it a bit. So I guess this thing. So start action sets BTX black shirt. So what this will do is now this is creating a almost a negative of what we would do to remove all the black for the image if this were full black shirt. So it's kind of basically what I mentioned earlier. So we can set the levels, and everything that's dark will be what's removed without having the transparent pixels in the design. So let's say, okay. So I'm basically trying to process this image, and now we have the background underneath it, and this is what the print will look like with halftone. So if we put a black background behind here, um, this isn't, that's our screen. So, okay, there we go. I don't know what was happening on my phone. Just wanted to show you a preview. So that's how it would look. We can also enhance this. Select layer, enhance this. Or we can change the vibrancy. Or we have the option of not doing the halftones. This makes the shirt softer. So let's say you didn't want the halftones. Can you see how it makes the dots or whatever? This makes the shirt softer. So I would like to go ahead and do this side of the image first, and then we can take this into Illustrator and then type the Kansas City. So I'll go to export as PNG, and we're talking about the video. I need to go to your folder. So we have a new version of this. So we raised it up a little bit, removed the black from the image, and halftoned it. You also have an option to where you can remove the black from the image without halftoning it. So you would still be left with like the solid red and stuff in the design if you wanted to. But just for the sake of time, I'll open this one. We don't need these anymore. And see, this is why we consider AI generated graphics like it's a tool. We use AI as a tool because it doesn't get it right. So you still have to learn some sort of skill in order to get the desired results. And so it's not perfect. We just use it as a tool, just like everybody was riding horses before Henry Ford unveiled the Model T. So it's like we're all driving cars now. So, but I'm sure when he was working on that Model T, plenty of people were like, that contraption will never work, you know? So we just use it as a tool. So for here, that was just the artboard. Now we can come in and make a new layer. And how I would do this is I would just draw with the pen tool. You can hit P on the keyboard. I would try my best to trace this path here. because we want to create that same arch. We want the letters to arch. There is an arch tool, but because this is so far spread out, I think this is a better option. And again, it's kind of uh, like putting together a puzzle. We're trying to find the best results, uh, the fastest results, with like the easiest way of getting it done. So then we can take our text tool and you would click and drag down. So this option is called type on a pad. So now we can type on this pad. We have a long way to go because we have different font sizes. So we don't want the letters to be very large, but we want them to be spaced out. So we can click our character selection here. And really this needs to be at like 500 for where they had it at. We can sort of switch these a bit. See it taking shape a little bit. 600. And some of this is just trial and error. A lot of it is. 800. And then we can use this tool to slide this into the center. So it's not highlighted. There we go. And you don't have to use this font, but you could go through your font library, download a font, and that's basically how we would do that. And then you would just scale it based on the distance of that font. So I would say maybe Davis New. It's not bold. Arial or Arial Black, by the way. Okay, so none of these are perfect, but you kind of get the gist of it. So we can scale this down a little bit. And this is something that would be hard for AI to do. So now to put it in the center, we can go to our type pad options. This needs to be, is it the center? Or not the center? There we go. But you can choose whichever font you want, basically. And then to change the color, you can always just, I think it was black, but you could pretty much do anything. You could do the eyedropper tool outside of this selection to borrow this color if you wanted to. I can't really see. Borrow that color, move it to your swatches. And I know it seems like a lot, but I at least wanted to show you that uh, this is just how we would address something like that. And you can just leave it black. And then from there, you would just save this again. We talked about saving stuff and then bringing it back into Illustrator or Photoshop. And we would save our PNG again. Try and speak to it. That's okay. Or I can hit view. Okay, it's the Illustrator file. So I'll save it as an SVG. So here's another thing I didn't mention. Even though SVG is a vector file, you can't save a PNG as like a vector. It just doesn't really work well like that. And this actually as straight as I wanted it to be. I just noticed that. Um, so it just has the arch, but this will follow the path of the line, basically. So another way I would do this, right, if you didn't want to do it that way, is you can just type it like this, and then we could center the selection, and you can do an arch. You go to type or effect, warp. So you have two. You have, well, more than that, really. You have um, arc, like that, and then you have arch, where the sides of the letters droop down, even though it's curved. So for something like this, this is arch. So we would go to warp, arc, and then you can take this down to whatever percentage you want. So that's a slightly faster way of doing it. But sometimes, like with AI, it might not put it straight. It just did. Sometimes it might be off a little bit. Even when I drew it with the pen tool, you're supposed to, it's barely off. So again, it's like a puzzle. But I went the long route. So, but that's good. So this video will show multiple ways of doing it. And again, once you change that font, it changes the everything. So you would have to just adjust it. But you can still, work with it enough to get the desired results if you just have an idea of how you want it to go. So that's at least how we would do it. And I love the color options. You could do a charcoal gray if you want. You just didn't want solid black. So it's not so pronounced. We could export. Let's see, fits. And then now, as like a proof, if you're going to send this to a customer, you could just open up another layer down here, draw another box behind it. Still on that charcoal grid. Okay.
So this is what my son created. I told him, I said, type in something, see what it comes up for you. So this is what he came up with when he told us to do. I don't know what he said, but
What I do is I take just I'm on the computer, so I'm trying to give you the stuff, but I know you have a notepad or something like that. But I take that prompt and I copy. I make the whole like notepad. I probably have one in here somewhere.
so that's what I'm saying. How do I know what to say in my prompts to give those images?
So if I were gonna try to recreate what you have there with no picture, if you just showed it to me, before I had no clue. So it's good that I can kind of see. If I had to do that, what I would probably say, I guess I would go ideogram. The prompt that I would use is create a flat.
I like. Oh, I liked it. This image, how they got the little.
Okay. Yeah, 420 GSM. That's pretty thick. You said XH. So I would say create a flat illustration with or the letters, and you have to do it capital too. Of X H and a nada conflict style. What color for the print? The letters
Maybe white, because I want to like
and the white.
different color outfits.
Okay. The
Like
letter.
that.
Oh, what? The letter H. Minimalist. Minimalist. um, Angel on the left side. You have to tell it that.
Or the quickest way I could do is take a picture of the image, upload it to ChatGPT, and say, make me one like this.
Yeah, you can do that, but when you're trying to create, so it might create it like that, but was that wasn't a century? That was I said century Gothic. That's the phone. It wasn't a modern Gothic style typeface. But I know some of that stuff is like kind of nerdy. But with that, what you showed me is not that. But I'm thinking of the brand, the identity part. So that had more of a softer feel to it. So
Right.
what it's going to generate just won't be that exact thing. But then we can copy that. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'll create another deal. So that's our font right now. Oh, I'll say, tell it all of that.
And what are you in right now?
This is ideogram. So I like this. It generates 4. And sometimes if I really want to maximize the time, I'll go into another one and I'll do the same thing. So like the Bang one that we did, I'll just paste the same thing. So I'm like making the computer work for me multiple times. So it's like while this is generating that, I'll wait till this finishes. I'll come back to here, see what this came up with.
What's the other one you
See
said?
this,
Bang. See that?
like that. And then the thing I like
Go
about
back to the output.
I kind of
I
made the
like that
H.
one.
That's nasty.
I like the last two.
So what I like about this is that you can take this and you can remix them. So you can say, I like this, but just do it in different ways like this. So what I would do is download this one. My thing is long. Maybe I probably had to pay the thing on. So yeah, I'm gonna try to remix this. I haven't used it in a long time. That's probably I'll see.
What are you on right now?
This is ideogram.
What you said? Mac Bang or something? You said Bang something. What's the other program?
Oh, Bing. Yeah. So you know
Bing?
Bing, the it's kind of like Google. It's a browser. So Microsoft Edge.
Oh yeah.
So Bing it's Google, like it's search thing. So the Bing image editor is this. So that's why I do multiple because this is totally different. But this is doing more what I told it. So instead of the modern Gothic style, I can say in a soft style. It's gonna be good. But you get 15 fast generations per day. If you go over 15, it'll just take longer, but it'll still generate it. Yeah, so then I would probably just give up with that. But that's the one that I really like though. Like sometimes it does exactly what you want it to do. Now I just use ideogram because it spells things correctly.
That's what I do.
I'm just yeah. I don't have to tell it to spell it correctly. It rarely gets wrong. I like that.
Yeah, I know. But those are lowercase letters.
Yeah, well, so was this one, but you didn't really pick up on it because you gravitated to the wing and the fact that it takes up about the same space. It'll be like that. So if we came into that, what I would do is just save. Well, save this one though. Showing the folder, and then we can. Yeah, like that. You know what's even better is that.
So my question. So my original thing I said at first was exclusive hustling designs, but then I started dropping the D
Okay.
and just doing the hustling. So do I need to use the hustling design or just
not for the brand. Not for what people see. You can establish the business however you or there's
Right.
nobody. So people only know what they see, and they only know what you show them. So I like Exquisite Hustle. It's short. They know they're buying your line, so you don't have to tell them that. Now, for a business, like for them to find you online or something like that, as a printer that prints orders and stuff, then I would probably say Exquisite Hustle Design because they know they can come to you for design and for transfers and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But the line itself, you could do that. You could make this capital if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Hey, where you be?
I'm in class. What?
Oh, never mind. Well, just ignore the front door.
Okay.
So what I would do with this, let's say we're going to use this, and you were only hung up on the capital letter thing,
Mhm.
you could push this up, but it's going to be imbalanced a little bit. I think that's why I did that. So if you like that, or if you like the other one better, it really depends on. Oh, this is the second step.
So what was the first one again? The first one was this one, right?
It's in the history somewhere. I'd have to. Let's
Okay.
see. Usually it's down here. But you had it where you could just scroll. Uh, history.
What like what?
Oh well, that would have taken us all the way home. So this is the first one. It was this one right here. These were the first four, but this is the one that you chose the first time. This one. So let's say I think we already say that, but let's say we were going to turn that into a vector. We could do it three different ways. Basically, you could take it in Illustrator, um, uh, image trace, do that. You could take it into this other tool.
So hold on.
So we're at ideogram.
So that to that. You know what I mean? Make the wing on what? Like,
So you like this wing, but on this and the all caps
yeah,
stuff.
okay.
Okay, so we can take this and download. And then I'll take this. And you're gonna need another session for the actual tracing part of this. I don't like this, like that line. You can go in there and trace it as a vector, add the colors. That's a little bit more detailed because that gradients and stuff that you could do it. And then you can go back and generate like what we were talking about, tracing this design here. So we'll upload this. This is the tracing program that I use. So the thing is, I know I could trace this. It's just gonna take me like 30 minutes or so to trace this or to do a font match or something like that. And this program can just do it.
A font mat. That's what you do?
Usually, if somebody gives me a logo, instead of me trying to trace the fonts, if it's a low quality logo, I'll just go and do a font match to find the X and the H, and then I'll just trace the lane, and I'll just type it over that. But it's whatever is fastest. So I could take this, crop this H right here, take it into like a font searching website. It'll give me what font it thinks it is. I go into Illustrator, take that same file, type X and H. So I'll have my X, I'll have my H, and then I can go in and just trace the lane and put it there. X, save it, merge it together, export it, and there's our logo. Versus me trying to go through and trace that, I could have found the font that time. Or you could go and do a font finder and it never finds a font that's close and you spend an hour searching through fonts that you still can't use when you could have just traced it. So it's just trying to find a balance of again trying to put that puzzle together. So I'll hit download result, and what this does is it creates a vector from like an image.
So see how
hmm
I like stuff like that. Would that go with my
Yeah, I think it would because you still got the Gothic, but it's you can make the Gothic relevant but not scary. No, okay, right. So let's say you take this image and then you add a gradient from white into red, and then some of that is silver, and then there's a skull on the back. That changes the whole feel. but you didn't gravitate to that. Same type of font.
See,
And
I don't really want the skull look, but I know that's what's going on. That's popular. I don't
yeah,
really want that, but I took a screenshot of this because I like how
yeah.
the lettering.
But see, you're not gonna put that into. I mean, you may get lucky, but for you to put all that into a prompt and it just to appear, probably not likely. But you can say, like to me, this reminds me of saloon. So like,
Mhm.
like a saloon, like a bar, old bar from like the 1800s. So, but half of it is just looking at style. Yeah, so that reminds me of like an old how they spell shop with two P's and an E type that. So I would work on the Gothic part of it and then try to see if it can create some type of flourish or something for that. And then you combine those elements. But then you trace it and you still have a vector at the end of it. So like this program that we just used, this just created an SVG. So what you're going to see is what we started from the beginning. So there's that. We'll open up an Illustrator. So this is our vector. Select our vector. And it's clean.
But that ain't the right.
Now this is part of it. So you have to vectorize them both to be able to manipulate it the way you want to. So before we use Photoshop, now I don't want to use Photoshop for this because you don't want this wing. You want the wing from the other one. So to do that, it's easier for me to create a vector, go in here. I don't know why it's not. There we go. So now I'll take that out, put this back, Control F. Okay, so now we're left with this, and then I can go into outlines if we just want to see. Create a copy, like I said before, and now we need to keep this area here. Like I just want to keep that so I can line the other wing up with it. So now we go back, we vectorize another image. So this software is going to trace the file so we don't have to. So we're getting our time back. We're getting the speed. So now we take the wing that you liked, which was this one, all right?
Mm-hmm.
It was this one, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we take that and then we vectorize that. So now we don't have to do a file match. We're just tracing the edges. So it's minimalist enough because we put that in there. So it's minimalist. There's not all this background crazy stuff going on. But I had to know enough about like art, just in general and design to tell it that's what I wanted. So we'll save another one here. And then now we can open up the other one. Here's our other, no, that's not it. One, two, at least this one. Okay, here's another vector. Again, now it's plain, you can't really see it. So I took what I have to do. Okay. It's not copying my stuff when I tell it to do it. Okay, there we go. I lock this, it's not moving around. Plain. So now we can take this and we just want the wing. So I'm only going to copy those pixels or those anchor points in lines and segments. And so we're pasting this wing. But see, it's linear based art. It's line art. So all I'm going to do is just get this close to where this one is. All right. Now we can hide this. We don't need this anymore. Now, because it's a vector, I can just come in and delete what I don't want, you know. So you can't really do that with some of the other programs, but I went too far with that. So I'm just deleting everything that I know we don't need. All we need is the X. I'm just highlighting everything and hitting the delete button. Okay. So I have two options here. I can take this right here, pen tool, and complete that. So later on, if you just want to do the big X and H yourself, you have that already. So now we have that. And now that that's deleted, we can bring this back up. Now, the ink or the wing doesn't flow as plain. I need to duplicate that too. So because it doesn't flow as well, we need to move this back a little bit and zoom in. And then from here, how it'll just depend on how much of the X do you want, the wing to flow from.
Okay. Well,
Closer to the X.
yeah, like it's part of it.
Well, this will all be gone, but we have to start somewhere. So let's say we're going to delete this section here. We can continue the wing like that.
What app is it being?
This is Illustrator, so it's Adobe Illustrator. So we are using 4 different programs. We're using ideogram to get the idea. Then we move that to the vector program to create a vector because it's your logo. So when you want your logo to be clean, because you never know how big the brand is going to get, you might want a trade show, like a table, cut cloth or something. So you want to start with that. You don't want to do this later. So when you do that, um, now we can look at the whole illustration, which this needs to be subtracted from here. I'm borrowing that color. You can highlight this and subtract that shape from there. I don't know what's doing that. Okay, it's there. Oh, it's behind it. There you go. That. But that's how you would do that. And then you can merge these two if you wanted to, or you can move it, or do another wing later, or make the swoop on the side of it. But that's how you would create a vector from all of that. So that's taken 2 different AI files that you found that you like, and you make something versus generating all that. And then you save this as a vector. If you wanted to put this on a shirt, you just remove the background. I wouldn't do off-white. I would make this absolute white. Right now it's like an off-white. That's just how I generated it. This isn't enough. Okay, there we go. I'll make it white. And then you can export this as a PNG, transparent background. Then now if you wanted to, I can hide this actually and hide both of these and just place the new file. It's going to look the same, but if you wanted to just see it, all of these layers are closed.
So this one right here kind of almost gave it that look, but this is in yarn file or whatever it's going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I'll stick to that. Just branding the whole that style.
With a dragon on it.
Yeah, I mean it's that whole medieval thing, It's regal. Where did this place go down?
I don't know what I was saying.
Yeah, this is the file that we just made. But see, when you zoom in, it's clean. That's a PNG. You see it pixelate there, but it's a I would say bitmap. It's a raster image, but it's clean enough for a huge print on a shirt. Well, if you've made it this far into the video, I appreciate the love and support. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay elegant, Princess Ivan.
Okay, so if you've enjoyed any of the training and tutorials in this video, please consider joining my Skool community. The link will be over here somewhere. And the QR code will be there for you to just scan, also in the link of the description of this video. Now, we will be talking all things print. If you want direct access to me in terms of asking questions on how to repair your printer, if you are just starting from the beginning and you don't know which DTF printer to purchase, you can ask me those questions there as well. So click the link and we'll see you there.